Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Welcome to the Yonex Ezone 2025 review. This review deals with the 98 and the 100. We start with what's new with this extremely popular line endorsed by players like Naomi Osaka, Nick Kyrgios, Marton Fucsovics, and many more. They have introduced something in tech that is called the Energizing Isometric, all quoted from their official website, so I get this right. So it's an expanded frame top here to increase the size of the sweet spot, giving you a larger area for consistent hitting. And I really felt like that worked well on both the 100 and the 98. The 98 feels like it needs less weight than it used to do. It felt like it needed a bit of customization, some lead tape on it to play more stable. This one feels great from the get-go, so I didn't feel like it needs any customizing, really. They have widened the beam a bit at the top as well, adding some power, explosiveness. You do feel that. You do feel like the racket is slightly more powerful than its predecessor. Same with the 100. Quite a powerful frame now. The 100 was very powerful, so you add a bit. It can be too powerful for some players, but we'll get into that. And they've extended the tapered inner frame to deliver a more softer control feel. I have not had any arm issues with this frame. Hendrik did struggle a little bit with the 100, he said. In terms of comfort, I felt nothing. The players who tried it with me have not really felt anything, so it's a little bit of a personal thing, of course. What else is new is Minolon, which is the threads spun by Minomushi bagworms. I've never heard of this in a tennis racket before. So it's ultra fine strands bonded into a net-like structure, so kind of like silk, you know. The racket does feel smoother when you're hitting. It doesn't feel harsh at all. It doesn't have like super ball pocketing, but the ball pocketing is improved from the predecessor, I feel like. So maybe the Minolon works. Then they have the stuff that we've heard before, which is the VDM tech in the handle to dampen vibrations. Some don't like that because it creates a more muted feel, but some do because you have a bit more comfort. And then they have the 2G NAMD speed, which is high modulus graphite fibers with carbon nanotubes. Some of these tech jargon can be difficult to break down. There are a bunch of different models. We will focus on the 98 and the 100 in this review. If you want me to split up reviews, I can do that in the future. The Ezone 98, we start with that. It's also available in a tour version, also available in a 27.5 length version called Plus. If you want even more swing weight. Swing weight was pretty manageable, by the way. This is strung with Tour Bite 125, around 320 strung. Felt like I did not need to add weight. Usually I like a slightly higher swing weight, 325, 327 up there, but for me this played really fast and still stable, thanks to the improvement in the beam structure, and it did not feel more sluggish because of slightly thicker beam up here and so on. Just felt a bit more forgiving. So overall I feel like it's not like as drastic of an update as the V-Core was, but a positive one. I like Yonex that they always try to work on their molds. They don't just change the layup a little bit. They do quite drastic changes on paper. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, depending on the player. For me, this one worked. This one was better for me than the V-Core update. Tennis nerds, I'm here with my buddy Sean.
Hey guys,
we're gonna test some Ezones today, so I want to hear your first impressions here. First time holding these, I mean, because you're an Ezone 98 user.
With the Ezone 98 user, yeah.
That's the 98, this is the 100.
Nice.
New Ezone versus old Ezone, what's your take?
Ezone versus old Ezone. So for me, the new Ezone, as soon as I pick it up straight away, I don't feel like it needs any customizing much. Maybe I might put on a leather grip, but the stability for me is what stood out the most between the version 7 and the version 8, right?
Yeah.
Weight wise, 305, I like a little bit heavier, so maybe I'll put some weight in the throat just to build up the overall weight of the racket.
Yeah.
But in terms of the racket, I would be more than happy to switch straight away.
That's a good review, I would say. You've been playing with this for a while now.
Yeah, exactly. And I've customized them a bit, not because they're a bad racket, just for my personal feel.
Yeah, you like a little bit heavier spec.
Exactly.
Old school classic guy, yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like that's why I found this one definitely a lot more stable in the hand. Overall, a good upgrade, let's say.
Yeah.
Rather than a switch, because it's just a newer version. But it definitely they've definitely changed something. There's definitely a change or an addition to the new version.
Yeah, it feels like a subtle but quite strong improvement.
Exactly,
You know, like they
exactly.
improved the stuff that you would like, a little bit more
Exactly.
stability and like a bit more power. I would say,
Yeah,
like that gives a bit
definitely.
more.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah,
easily
definitely
swing
more
it like
power.
these are like 320 swing weight strong,
Exactly.
and they still play heavier, like
Exactly.
in a nice way.
Not much weight needed maybe at the top, but overall maybe they would bring out a tour version. It weighs 315, which would be perfect.
Yeah, for you that would be the.
You know what I mean? So, but no, very happy with the first play. Hope to get to play with it again.
Cool, man.
There it goes.
Thanks.
Perfect.
So the 98, who is it for? It's for more control-oriented players who can generate their own power. It's not like a huge sweet spot. It is like a little bit easier to use than a Blade or a Pure Strike and many other 98 rackets. It feels a bit more forgiving, but it's still a quite difficult racket to use compared to the 100. So you're not getting quite as much of a sweet spot, quite as much of a power injection, but it is quite easy and quite powerful to use for a 98. Launch angle remains pretty low. It goes quite low over the net. You need to generate your own spin with this frame. It's not going to give you that kick as an Aero or V-Core, where you get a little bit more lift on the ball and it kicks up against your opponent. It's a bit more up to you here. But if you're a flat striker that likes to go missile hard just over the net and hit winners, then this frame is your buddy. One area where the Ezones never fail, it's on serves. Like the Pure Drive, it's just super powerful, nice on serve, easy to serve with. 100 even more than 98, but the 98 for a 98 does the job really well. So overall, an improvement of the 98. Not sure which one I would choose.
This racket, 98 Ezone of the new version, it's not DR98 territory, but it's good. A bit low in the swing weight though, and I think to get some pop of this one, I would almost want it to be up for like 330 or something like that. But it's good control, pretty small sweet spot though, I feel, and for a flat hitter, I would presume like you, Jonas, I think you could like and play well with this racket. I think this one could fit your game actually, but it was not for me. A good racket for flat hitters, I would say like a player like Marton Fucsovic or like that type of tennis. Big hitters, pretty flat strokes. This racket is really, really good. Much softer flex as well, so I felt absolutely nothing in my elbow with this one. So maybe I should string it, add some lead and string it a little bit looser. Now I had it strung at 21.5 kilos. Maybe I should try like 19 kilos or something like that in this one. So it's a good racket, not for me, but a good racket, and it would be interesting to see it in the hands of a flat hitter.
And if we talk about the 100, that has even more power, even more of the good stuff, otherwise quite similar to the 98, of course. It's the same family of rackets. They are usually small spec differences. But with the 100, you're getting more of everything. So the easiest serving racket on the market, potentially. For me, it is the easiest serving racket. Really adds some extra miles per hour on my serve, which is not great to begin with, so I need it. Obviously a little bit tough sometimes to control. It's gonna have a lot of pop, still low launch angle, a little bit higher lift than the 98, more forgiving in terms of sweet spot, but you might need to string the 100 a bit higher. This one you can go down 49, 46 pounds ish, something like that. Still plays with good control with the right string, while with the 100 I felt like you need to bump it up to control the ball. You need to go above like 53 or on 53 pounds, that's 24 kilos, to make sure you get control, and that can for some players lead to a little bit of elbow soreness with a high tension poly, right? So you have to be a bit more careful with your setup with the 100.
Ezone 100, I've tried it with two different strings. I tried it first with the orange Yonex Rev Pro. I didn't get any good connection with the ball with that string. It felt a bit too harsh. And then I strung it with the Restring Zero.
Yeah.
Yes, Sync is the silver version, yes.
Yeah.
And it feels really good in this version. The ball sinks in a little bit more. You get some really good bite with this string, but it's a good racket. I felt some small tendencies in my elbow though. Maybe it could be like I've tried like 20 different rackets the last couple of weeks, and it could be because of that. But the stiffness is 69 RA strung in this one, so it's a pretty stiff racket. The design has been up to debate. I like it a lot. Compared to the old version, I would say this one, I feel I could control the ball a little bit more. I had some problems with getting like the old Ezone was a bit too sluggish for me in match play. I didn't really dare to hit through the ball because I felt I couldn't really control the ball. This one I felt more connected to the racket as well and played pretty good tennis, I think. It's a racket. I mean, if the elbow is not any issue for me, like if it could be like maybe I had a bad day or something, but if I don't feel anything in my elbow, this is a racket I could easily play with in matches. I felt pretty comfortable. It was easy to play with. Also like playing with power steering, and yeah, a good update. Yeah, good work from Yonex for this racket.
If you want maximize power and you're a flat hitter, like go with a multi or a multi-gut hybrid with a poly, and that could give you even more pop and a bit more comfort for the 100. So it feels like it's even more power in this edition of the Ezone 100 than the previous one. It feels a little bit firmer on the arm, this. Bit muted still. Overall I like it, and I like the previous one. Not like a massive spin, like launched pretty flat, but I always like this one. Is it too much power sometimes? I feel like. Would I add some weight to it? Maybe. Not sure. 320 swing weight. I think I would take the 100 over the 98 in the end because it's so easy to use. It's so fun to play with. Like, power is fun. Like when you're playing tennis, like you're getting some extra help and you don't have to do everything yourself. It feels like it's quite addictive to play with. The head size and the head shape of Yonex 100s can feel a little bit demanding in terms of like how it goes through the air. There are pros and cons with the isometric head shape. Sometimes more traditionally shaped rackets go a bit faster in my opinion, but you're getting a larger sweet spot and more forgiveness and maybe also a little bit more power. So the main update for the 100 for me is a little bit more of a plusher, more forgiving feel, and even more of the good stuff, even more power, even more stability. So if that sounds like a treat to you, check out the new Ezones. I had a hard time putting them down. The cosmetic looks much better in person than I think some of you who were kind of disappointed when they saw it. It actually has some really nice features to it and stands out a bit. Tennis Nerd approved. I could really take either of them into a serious match and be happy and not complain too much about the racket, because I will always complain about the racket. But maybe at some point you would like something in between, like a little bit easier than the 98, a little bit less powerful than the 100. We'll see when we get an Ezone 99 or something. I think I've heard that there will be an Ezone 100 Tour, which is an 1820 pattern, but I'm not sure like you need that extra string to control it because the launch angle is still quite low. But I would be very curious to try that one. Maybe they've done some other tweaks to it. Maybe they've lowered the stiffness, and that could be interesting. So I will keep you updated if I get my hands on one, and make sure to subscribe to Tennis Nerd. We have loads of resources on tennisnerd.net for choosing your racket, like the racket guide. We have a consultation service, loads of reviews, really going out of our way to help you not get stuck in the racket jungle. As I say, you will play better if you commit to one racket and focus on building your muscle memory and working on your game. It's tough with all these options out there. There's so many good rackets on the market. 2025 is bringing them all. Like, they're all very interesting frames. So I know it's going to be tricky to choose. I hope we can help you in some way, but I wish you all the best and good luck on your racket journey. These Ezones really rock, and I'm happy to keep playing with them. Check them out. Let me know what you think about them in the comments. Have a nice day now, and don't forget to play some tennis.